I am reading.
The ing
දයාබර දූ දරුවනි ඔබේ ඉංග්‍රීසි දැනුම වැඩි දියුණු කිරීම සඳහා අපි ඔබට අත දෙන්නෙමු. ඔබ සඳහාම සකසා ඇති මේ සරල ඉංග්‍රීසි පාඩම් මාලාව තුලින් ඔබේ දැනුම තවත් වැඩි කරගන්න. ලෝකයේ අනෙකුත් රටවල් සමග අර්ථවල බැඳගන්න අපි ඉංග්‍රීසියෙන් කතා කරමු.
When we want to describe places around the world, we sometimes use our map to show where the countries may be located on the globe, but also we think of places, special places that remind us of those countries. So if you were asked about China, what would you recall is famous in China? Would it be the Great Wall of China? Then you could express it this way. China is renowned for the Great Wall. Or you can express it differently and say, China is famous for its Great Wall. And now you know what that looks like, the Great Wall of China. Paris in France. Well, you can find where France is in your map. But what in Paris makes you think of that great city? You might answer and say, the Eiffel Tower is located in Paris. Or you might express it differently and say, Paris is famous for it being the home of the Eiffel Tower. That way we have identified two things, the Eiffel Tower with Paris. Two things. Now let's think of another. Taj Mahal. Where is the Taj Mahal? You could say that in India, one of the famous historic buildings is the Taj Mahal. And you can express it differently and say, in India, one of the most famous buildings is the Taj Mahal. Can you think of any others? Well, I'm sure you can. Pyramids. Yes, you could say Egypt is famous for its pyramids. And you can express the same idea differently and say, the pyramids are a tourist attraction in Egypt. That's the same idea, same meaning. What are the places in Sri Lanka that you can think of? Maybe you want to talk about places that would interest visitors here. Would you like to try and explain the attractions in Anuradhapura, in Polonnaruwa, in Sigiriya, in Dambulla, the wildlife parks in Yala, in Boondala, different places, bird sanctuaries in Veeravilla, in Kumana. Those are very attractive places. Try and describe what people can see and enjoy on a visit to those different places. And now, listen very carefully, because you're going to learn something more in this part of our program.
Hi. Today we're going to talk about different places around the world. Take a look at this map. Do you know these areas? What is this? This is North America. This area down here is called South America. This is Africa. Here is the Indian Ocean. This is Australia. And this here is India. So can you tell me what that small island off the southern coast of India is? I'll give you a hint. Some people call it the Pearl of the Indian Ocean. Can you guess? Yes, it's our very own country, Sri Lanka. Let's learn how to describe places by their various features. Switzerland is a country in Europe. It is usually very, very cold there, and there's lots of snow. It also has lots of mountains. This is a picture of Hawaii. Hawaii is a warm country with many beautiful beaches, just like our very own Sri Lanka. Now this is a picture of the Sahara Desert. How would you describe it? You can say the Sahara Desert is very hot for most of the year. Now let's focus on the words nothing, no one, and nowhere. Look at this example. Where are you going? Nowhere special. What are you doing? Nothing. Who are you talking to? No one. Remember this rule. Look at this very carefully. It will come on your screen now. You have some, something, someone, and somewhere. Then you get any, anything, anyone, and anywhere. Then you get what we learned today. No, nothing, no one, and nowhere. Remember, we learned this before. We use some in positive sentences. I saw something. I saw someone. We use any in the question form. Did you see anything? Now in negatives, there are two ways. Either you could say nothing, no one, nowhere, or not plus anything and anyone and anywhere. Look at these examples. I opened the door, but there was no one there. I opened the door, but there wasn't anyone there. Now those two sentences mean the same thing. I opened the door, but there was no one there. And I opened the door, but there wasn't anyone there. Do you see how you use anyone and no one? Let's take another example. She waited, but he said nothing. The same sentence, you could say, she waited, but he didn't say anything. Those two sentences, they mean the same thing. Do you remember the present continuous? We use it to talk about three things. First of all, things that are happening right now, that is, at this moment. For example, I'm making breakfast. Can I call you back? The second way is for things happening around now. That means it's not happening at exactly this precise moment, but somewhere around now. Example, I am going for Hindi classes. Yes, I'm really enjoying it. The third way is when we talk about things we have planned for the future. You could say, next Saturday? Oh yes, I'm having lunch with a friend and going shopping in the afternoon. These are all examples of the present continuous tense. Let's look at it is or its. We've used it before, but now we're going to use it to talk about the weather. How would you describe the weather? You could say, it's very hot, or it's raining, it's cold. Maybe you're on top of a mountain and it's windy. These are ways of describing the weather using it is or its.
Here are words that we can learn and use in our daily speech in trying to speak English correctly and properly. The word fairly. Fairly. What is the meaning of fairly? Well, you would want to refer your dictionary and find out exactly how fairly is defined. But fairly has the idea or the meaning of something which meets your approval. In other words, something that makes you happy or contented. But to understand it better, we might need to use it in a sentence. I know that in my own home, my parents will treat me fairly. What we are meaning by that is then that your parents who respect and care for you would want to do that which is good for you and that which is the best for you. So you are treated fairly. In other words, treated in a way that you like, that you enjoy being treated. So, fairly. Think of other ways that you can use the word fairly. The other word we want to learn is partly. What's that? Well, the word part, I think we understand. Partly has yet another meaning. Partly means something which is incomplete, not complete. Partly. So if we see a building that is half built, we can use the term partly to describe it, saying this is a building which is partly built. We get the right idea then with that usage. The job is not complete. There is more work to be done. So it is finished partly. Maybe you have to write an essay. You have to write an article of 300 words, an essay of 300 words. But you have written only 150. And if you were to be asked the question, have you finished writing your essay? You might have to say, no, but I have partly finished writing my essay. That gives the meaning. So, keep those in mind, learn to use them, and enjoy using them. Bye for now.
I